Okay, this will be page 2 of chapter 5 for World Civilizations on ancient Greece. Okay, there's a look at the Parthenon at night. That's quite a nice picture. Okay, some different types of governments. These were around 750 to 500 BC. Different forms of government that evolved by the Greeks. So the first is a monarchy. That's a government in which a king or queen exercises power. And so Queen Elizabeth, a good example of a monarchy in England or Great Britain. She's the queen because it's her family line. Her husband is not a king, he's a prince of something. And anyway, that's why. So when she passes away, her son, okay, will be the next leader. He'll be the king because he's the oldest and the next direct descendant of hers. Okay, an aristocracy is ruled by a landholding elite. So, you know, people like this that are very wealthy, that own land, have a lot of status and position, and that's the aristocracy. It could be one person, it could be a few people. And then you have an oligarchy, which is ruled by a small, powerful elite, usually from the business class. So you've got some wealthy businessmen here. Could be an example of an oligarchy. Oh, a couple of other things. So with the aristocracy, they could afford bronze weapons back in Greek times. They could afford bronze weapons and chariots. And after gaining power for themselves, through war, they were able to do that. And so a land-holding elite on that one. As trade expanded, a new middle class of wealthy merchants, farmers, and artisans emerged in ancient Greece. Okay? All right, Sparta, again with the movie, 300, the Sparta really gained importance, or, you know, everybody really knows about that. Anyway, Sparta, conquered people were turned into state-owned slaves called Helots. Sparta stressed military virtues and stern discipline. Spartans were Dorians who conquered Laconia in Peloponnesus, which is in the southern part of Greece. Okay? So because of the popularity of the movie, out on the internet, these are just some different funny little things that I found on the internet that I put up here just kind of for fun to look at. Anyway, I don't know if I've ever seen that movie all the way through. So with Sparta, boys at age 7 went to military camps. They were toughened by hard exercise and rigid discipline, and any weak or deformed children were abandoned to die. That's very sad and unfortunate, but this is what they wanted to do to keep their citizenry, their group of people, the population, to keep them strong. Now, I have a grandson who's 5. I just can't imagine in 2 years him going out to a military camp without parents. That would just be terrible, in my opinion. But so there's a story that in one of the films or videos that I used to show, it exemplified how rigid and tough this discipline was, and how these boys did not want to be punished. So these are young boys still wanting to play and have fun, but they're training to be soldiers. Anyway, this group of boys is out and they're on some military exercise, and this one boy finds a fox, a young fox, and he wants to keep it as a pet. Well, he can't say anything, he can't be found with it, or he'll be in trouble. So he decides he'll put it down his shirt, and that will keep it from being noticed. Anyway, so then he's standing at attention, and this animal, it's young, but this animal is trying to get out. It's scared. Anyway, it's clawing at him, digging at him, and he doesn't cry out. But eventually it opens him up, it cuts him, and his insides start to come out, and he's severely injured, and he falls over and dies because he didn't want to be found out. Because if he was, he would be beaten, he would receive punishment. One of those was called a flogging, and this piece of thing here, so it's different than a whip. A whip has just a leather strap, and you whip somebody with it. But a flogging is you have these different leather straps, and at the end there's embedded in it, tied in it, glass or sticks, things that when you are hitting the person that it digs into the skin. It's pretty severe. Okay, so, to continue with that, so at 20 years of age, they could marry, but they still were expected to live in the barracks for 10 years or more and to eat there for another 10. So after that 10 years, they still were required to come back and eat in the barracks. So that's a good portion of their life. All right, Athens was one of those other city-states. They moved slowly toward a democracy or government by the people, although definitely different from ours today. Athens glorified the individual and extended political rights to more citizens. We'll talk about different types of government within Greece as far as direct or indirect democracy. Discontent spread, and they moved slowly toward a democracy, which would eventually again be like what we have. Okay. Solon, he's a wise, trusted leader, appointed archon, or chief official. So the name archon is the name for a chief official in 594 BC. Many reforms under his leadership ensured greater fairness. So made changes so that things would be more fair to more of the citizens. Widespread and continued unrest led to the rise of tyrants. So a tyrant is a person or people who gained power by force. Usually if you're a leader in the military and you have a lot of influence over the army, it would be very easy for you to become a leader because you have that support of the military. Pisistratus was one of such leader, and he seized power in 546 BC. Just want to make sure I have everything. So continuing with him, he helped the farmers and the poor gain a greater voice in government, and this weakened the aristocracy. Again, eventually we're going to talk about direct or indirect democracy. In our country, the United States, we have indirect democracy where we elect representatives for us, people who will follow our views. Direct democracy is where you actively participate as an individual, and most of the Greeks could do this. They were paid, given a stipend, and then I think they had some rotation where everybody had the opportunity to participate. Okay, another person, Cleisthenes, was another reformer. He set up the Council of 500, which prepared laws for the assembly. And the assembly, it was a true legislature. And a legislature is a lawmaking body. Cleisthenes also broadened the role of ordinary citizens in government. So probably what I was talking about with more people having the opportunity to participate. And despite some divisions, Greeks shared a common culture, same language, ancient heroes, festivals, and the gods. So even though Sparta and Athens and some of these other city-states fought against each other at times, they still shared this common culture. These local ties, an independent spirit, and economic rivalry led to fighting among the different Greek city-states. Okay? All right, some of the beliefs, they were polytheistic, again, believing in many different gods. They lived on Mount Olympus. Of course, the most powerful was Zeus, and some of his children, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, Ares, the god of war, and Athena, the goddess of wisdom. And page 2, the end. Anyway, continuing with the whole Sparta theme. I don't know if this is very appropriate, but anyway, it's kind of funny. We'll let it run. I don't know if you can even see it on the video. I'll let it go and then I'll close up here. Anyway, all right, thank you.